I was talking with someone today about this, how I would like to be a voice, one of the voices in the world on these platforms that have a tendency to be rather shallow and superficial. I really would like to be a voice that's like, hey, this is what it's like to be human. This is what it's like to be human when you're happy and grateful and appreciative. And this is what it's like to be human when you're fucked off. And this is what it's like to be human when you're sad and you're lonely. And just the myriad of experiences that we can have as human beings, and to say, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to be human in all of our forms. And I've been sharing my writing and, videos for the better half of 15 years. But in recent years, I could feel a little bit more of this wanting to be a bit more private, be a little bit more reserved, a little bit more protective. And I think it's because I feel most free when I can be fully myself, when I can be vulnerable and transparent and authentic. I totally believe in walking my talk. However, the internet these days, it's not the same as it was 10, 15 years ago. It's very volatile. People can be downright mean, or they can project, or they can, if you show any bit of your humanity, can create a story around it and pity you. And there's this weird relationship, because on one hand, I want to share as transparently and authentically and humanly as possible. And there's also this reality that unless you and I know each other in person, or that we speak, daily, weekly, continually, whatever, that we know each other's personal lives, it's impossible for us to truly know each other. And so therefore, it's very easy to project or have an idea. And as someone that has a hard time with being projected on or understood in a way that doesn't feel authentic for me, and if we're all entitled to have our view, our lens of consciousness, our perspective. We all see each other in different ways. Our relationships in that way are very subjective, because it depends on how two form together, right? The energy and the entity that comes out of that dynamic. But I find myself sometimes sad, because I know that my soul is happiest when I'm free. And it's been a sad world to see so much censorship, to see so much cancel culture, to see so much hatred. And so for, obvious reasons, there was no, I want to hold a bit of sacred space around myself. And yet I know that part of my life's work and mission is even my gene keys say this, which I learned last year, that you're going to go through life, and what the challenges, the suffering, all of those things, you're going to share those. You're going to share those with people, so that if even one person feels less alone, then that makes me feel like I'm fulfilling my quote unquote mission in this life. But I feel torn sometimes, because it's how do I be fully open and transparent? And it's I'm bearing my heart and my soul on the line. And knowing that I'm going to be confronted with judgment, with projection, with all sorts of stuff, right? And the thing is, I was saying to this friend that it's I would have no problem, if you came to a workshop of mine or a talk, or when I used to do a lot of things in groups, I will show you and reveal whatever comes up, the story, the feeling, the humanity. When I'm doing sessions with clients, I'm not acting like I'm some fucking guru that has all the answers. It's oh yeah, I get that. I hear you. This is what it's like to be human. I'll never forget when I was in my early 20s, I was doing hypnotherapy, and I had this vision where I was in child's pose, and there was shattered glass all around me. And I just intuitively knew right away that what that represented was all of the suffering and the pain and the challenge that I had experienced already at 21. And I knew that the reason why those pieces of shattered glass were around me, because all of that gave me the experience for me to have the empathy and the compassion to relate to other people's shattered glass, their pain, their suffering, their challenge, their wounding. And that all of life and the experience and what we feel and what lives through us is to alchemize and to make what is painful into something that's joyful, what's ugly, make it beautiful. And that happens through the the transmutation, but we have to be in it. We have to feel it. We have to be cut by it. We have to bleed by it, right? And we don't need to keep the wound open and bleeding forever, but there's medicine in the blood, right? There's medicine in the way that your heart cracks open. Because we live in a society that's like, no, keep it sheltered and closed and put it all shiny and make it all perfect. And I don't want to live in a world like that. I don't want to be that. So it's like, I want to reveal of myself. And yet I'm very mindful of like, is this a safe space? You know, and it isn't always. I remember Brené Brown saying this years ago, that you can tell your story to anyone, but not everyone deserves to hear it. And you could say, oh, that sounds a little bit like, you know, are you in the club or are you not in the club? But actually, can someone hold it with reverence? And I think our humanity has lost reverence for the fact that we are human and we feel and we have a heart. And that deserves care and tenderness and sensitivity and kindness. That's what's lacking, is kindness. So I might get comments every now and again. Most of the time I'm met with really beautiful compassion and empathy and resonance and solidarity. And sometimes people will tell me who to be, or people will project something, oh, poor you, or I pity you, or, you know, and it's like, no, you know, I don't pity myself. I never have. So yeah, kindness and reverence, so that we can fully breathe, exhale, let like your trousers out, let your belly metaphorically and literally stick out, and be unabashedly you know, untamed, wild, feral, divine, human, dirty, messy, beautiful, because you're messy and imperfect. And I would like to stand here as that. And sometimes it's fucking scary. And I also know that I can have balls of steel, but I also have a very tender heart, as we should as humans, right? So that's all. Thanks for hearing. Loving you from afar. Bye.